Hello, everyone. I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver in September, and I am joined by Craig Parry of Vizsla Copper. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Gwen.
So, Vizsla Copper, the Woodjam project. This is a porphyry. It's been known about for quite some time, right in the middle of BC. Yep. Great area to work, easy to get there, low rolling hills, that stuff's all good. It's been known for a long time as modest grade, right? Fine in terms of functional mines in BC, but we all know that to get a mine off the ground and going usually requires a good zone of higher grade mineralization, right? So I feel like the mineralization that's known at Woodjam, what is it, 0.3, 0.4 copper equivalent? 0.4 copper equivalent is good for the rest of the mine life. Yeah. Talk to me about why you think that Woodjam has the potential to offer the stuff that could get that kind of mine off the ground and make it into that kind of long-lived asset.
Yeah, good question. I don't know. No. Look, you're right. And BC gets a bad rap. Everyone says, well, they're all low grade. Well, that's not true. If you look at Copper Mountain, you look at Mount Polly, and then further afield, Red Chris and some of these other projects, but particularly New Afton. That's 100 million tonnes, about 1.2% copper equivalent for very specific reasons, interesting geologically. Yeah. We know they're out there. Yeah. I think that there's just not been enough good geological work done to look at this in the past. I think, we don't have the same subduction conditions that you have in South America, for argument's sake, where you get really high grade. Sure. Although there are zones, if you look, so our resource at the moment is about 262 million tonnes at 0.4% copper equivalent, but since that resource was put together, it's very old data too. Yeah. 2012 resource for that. Since that time, the drilling that's happened there hit some really spectacular intercepts. 110 metres at 2.6% copper and 0.4 gold.
I mean, that's a crazy intercept.
And we think there are others out there. We put out a news release last Monday that was 66 metres at 0.9. Within a broader horizon of 300 metres at 0.6. But what we've found is there's certainly some sort of structural control. The benefit of this drilling program, of course, there's only been 15 drill holes in the past 11 years.
Right.
Now we've done, in the past 2 months, we drilled 18 holes, 8,000 metres. We're going to look at that and compare all of the core to what's happened before. We've got now the benefit of the MAG survey. We did ZTEM. The IP that we've done, and really work on understanding those controls on the high grade zones. I don't think we're there yet, but there's a really tantalising little hint there for us in the Deerhorn resource. It's 33 million tonnes at about 0.7% copper equivalent. So we know that that's there, and if we can really pull out those high-grade domains, continue hitting those zones along strike, which I think we can. I was up at site there a couple of weeks ago and saw some really good-looking core. Excited to see the assays for those, which will come in over the next 2 months. Do that, and then I'd love to see us when well down the path, given all of that previous drilling and that existing Deerhorn resource, but get to 50 to 100 million tonnes at about 1% copper or somewhere thereabouts. Then you've got a project that'll be that will be built. We've got nearly 2 billion pounds in resource at the moment. We've got 1 million ounces of gold. That's great leverage to the copper price. It underpins the value of the company, so that's good. Can't go too much lower. But then we've got all this crazy upside, and I'd love to be building a mid-tier copper producer in British Columbia. I think British Columbia could be the next Chile for copper.
And this was my only other question I was going to ask, is you said that in conversation before. Talk about that a bit. I mean, this is in the context of a global shortage, and I talked about that in my presentation here at the show. A global shortage of large copper projects, let alone advanced ones or ones that are being built into mines, but a shortage because there just hasn't been enough exploration. But you think BC has the potential to sort of step into that void if people want?
Look, I really do, and I think if we can get, you see what's happening in the EU at the moment. They've committed trillions of dollars a year, or $1 to $2 trillion a year for mineral exploration and development and mining, because they've committed to producing 20% of the metal they consume themselves. So that's a big commitment. How does that translate? Well, the French government with sort of LIDAR survey over the whole country. I don't know how much that would have cost, but it would have been a few $100 million, I'm sure. So they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. Here in Canada, just up the road here from Vancouver, there's probably 40 billion tonnes at about that 0.5% copper equivalent. And that's not, that's the global average mine grade of copper around the world now. So all of a sudden, with deteriorating mine grades around the world,
and political will for it to happen. That's what that French example is about, right?
Exactly.
It's the political will.
You need that. And I'm happy to report that Tanya, the new Deputy Mines Minister, was down at Beaver Creek last week. She did a fantastic job of talking to people about investing in mining in BC. They're putting they're off to a good start there, and encouraging things. But we have to get it right. We have to work hard on our first relations. That's important for us. We're invited really by the Williams Lake First Nations band, a little bit like the Talteen, very commercial, very pragmatic. Want to see investment by companies in their nation. So I think if we can get it right, BC will become a very major copper producer. It's already a significant copper producer. Could do better and become very, very important to the planet.
And if that happens, Woodjam will be up there in the mix.
One of the flagships.
Thanks very much. I look forward to seeing the rest of the results from those 18 holes, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thanks, Gwen. Always a great pleasure.